Hello, my name's AJ Goldsby. I'm a life master from Pensacola, Florida, and I'm coming today to bring you another video. This one is one of my games. This is not any Grandmaster game like I'm usually annotating Grandmaster games that I get off the internet. This is one of my games. This is a game I played recently. I played it in February of 2013 at the Bayside Open in Daphne, Alabama. It's one of my most pleasing games I think I've played. It's not an ugly game at all. In fact, I think overall, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd have to say it's in the 7 to 8 range or maybe even higher. But it's certainly a very good game, and I think it's also a perfect illustration of Alekhine's principle or Alekhine's dictum that you should first get all of your pieces to their best square, keep improving the overall position of each piece, and then when you finally reach a point to where you can no longer improve your position, then you have to look for some kind of breakthrough, some kind of tactical opportunity to strike home your advantage. I was white in this game. My name is AJ Goldsby, and my opponent was Doug Strout. And anyway, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into the game. It starts off as an open Rye Lopez, e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, a6, bishop a4, knight f6, white castles, knight takes e4, d4, b5, bishop b3, d5, d takes e5, bishop e6. Of course, this is the main line of the open Rye Lopez. I was a little disappointed to see the open Rye Lopez. I'd actually been studying a lot of lines in the closed Rye Lopez and had a few ideas that I'd help prepare with the aid of the computer, but I really hadn't had anything special prepared in the open Rye Lopez. In fact, it had been quite a long time since I'd really seriously looked at the open Rye Lopez. So I'd much rather seen a close than an open here. But anyway, c3, that's just a simple move there. The idea is to give the bishop an escape square so that if black plays knight c5, then the bishop on c2 has a good square to hide on. Bishop c5, just simple development, knight bd2. Now here, the best move according to the power book in MCO and ECO is simply black castling. Black plays knight takes d2, bishop takes d2, and now he castles. And here I just, right now here I took a few minutes, and basically let me say that one of the problems that I have in my area is that when I play chess, especially if I play a low-rated opponent, a lot of times they're quite happy just to swap material every chance they get and try to make a draw. So very oftentimes one of the foremost things in my mind is preventing a game from getting too simplified. So with all that in mind here, I played h3. h3 is a good waiting move. The book move here is bishop g5, and I didn't really like bishop g5 for exactly what I just said. Black can play bishop e7 and, trade off a lot of pieces, and that just doesn't strike me as, the way to try to get an advantage here and also keep material on the board. I played h3. Again, that's a good waiting move, prevents any pins, it gives the white king some luft, and none of black's pieces are going to be arriving on g4 soon, and it's also a good way to keep the position alive and keep material on the board and keep things complicated. Black plays rook e8. That's a nice natural developing move. Rook e1, d4. This is a very common idea in the open Rye Lopez. A lot of times the idea d5, d4 activates this queen bishop over here and also exchanges off a somewhat weak pawn for black. Now, of course, I can play the book line here. I should show you the book line here, because what the book and the machines recommend is bishop takes e6, f takes e6, c takes d4, knight takes, bishop there, knight takes, queen takes, bishop takes, queen takes. And all the engines tend to rate this as solidly better for white, but to me this was too drawish. All the heavies on the board. I mean, even some rook and pawn endings, if white is a pawn up, they're not too easy to win. In fact, they can be next to impossible to win. So I didn't, playing a line like this against a low-rated player would not be my cup of tea. I just wasn't, pleased with that prospect at all. So going back to the game here, black played rook e8. I went rook e1. So when he plays d4, I don't do the exchanging line. I played knight g5. I'm playing for complications and trying to keep the game alive. Here, black should play d takes c3, I believe is the correct move according to the computer. Black played the second best move, but it's actually a slightly inferior move. He played bishop takes b3. And now white gets a fairly decent advantage. Queen takes, rook e7, bishop f4, h6, knight e4, bishop b6. Now, after a few adventures, we've arrived back at a position which is very close to equal. If white has an advantage, it's very, very, very small. And here, again, I'm trying to think about how I can improve my position. And also, my main concern at this point was, how do I get my queen over to the king side? So I decided, also, too, I had another idea here, was that I was very concerned that if black ever pushed this pawn to d3, that d pawn would be a very powerful pass pawn. It might be very annoying for white, maybe even cost white a piece later on, or he'd have to always keep an eye on it for sure. So here I decided just to exchange off the pawn. Knight takes d4, queen g3. Now I have a very natural threat here, bishop takes h6, so black's got to get his king off the file, king h8. Now here, after the game, I had a discussion with several players. One player was a fairly strong expert, and all of them said that my next move couldn't have been the right move. I played king h2 here. And again, going back to just after the game, several players criticized that move, and we had all kinds of ideas here, but they said king h2 couldn't have been the right move, etc., etc. And I took that very seriously. I didn't blow it off. And I was rather concerned after the game was, well, maybe king h2 wasn't the right move, but the question then became, what was the right move? And so I did a lot of deep research. I did a lot of analysis with the engines. I basically let I did what's known as a deep position analysis, and I let Deep Shredder run on this game for almost 2 days. And after 2 days, the move that it picked also was king h2. So I think that ends any discussion about king h2 being completely inaccurate. Again, the idea is very simple. The idea is simply get the king away from checks. In other words, now my rooks are free to go anywhere. A good example of what can happen to white if he doesn't play king h2 is if he plays a move like rad1, then knight e2 check, and then you have to take, and then queen takes rook check, and you lose both your rooks there. So that should be a very good example of what happens to white if he isn't careful there. But anyway, king h2. Now black here, I think, should just maybe play queen d7 and double his rooks here. He played knight e6. It's not a terrible move. I went rad1, rook d7, rook takes, queen takes, and now bishop back to d2. And again, we've arrived back at a position, again, that's fairly equal. Black played rook d8. Queen d5 might have been slightly more accurate. And now black played rook d8, and I played queen h4. Now here black has to be extremely careful, because I've reached basically what's known as the Alekhine position, or the Alekhine principle. I've basically gotten all my pieces to their best possible squares, and I've got just about all 4 of my pieces are pointed at the black king. And black maybe has 2 pieces, his queen and his bishop, that might be directly or indirectly menacing my king or squares near my king, but it's very obvious that white's the one with the army that's probably slightly better positioned at this point. Here I think the correct computer move was knight d4, but here black played knight f8. Now I'm going to stop talking for just a minute or two. Why don't you, when I stop talking, just take pause the video and see if you can take a few minutes and try to guess what the winning move here would be. Okay, hopefully you did like I asked. You paused the video and you tried to guess what the winning move is. The winning move here is bishop takes h6, and the engines confirm that's the best move. Now here, black had to just agree that white has won a pawn and play knight g6, but my opponent decided to challenge my conception here. He played g takes h6, and that was basically, it looks like a natural move, but it's a mistake now, because now white wins by force. Queen takes h6. Oh, by the way, before I played this move, bishop takes h6, I pondered that the time limit for this game was game in 45 minutes, and I pondered that particular move for somewhere between 20 minutes and 30 minutes. So it was a good long think there, especially consider the total time control was only game in 45 minutes. So anyway, bishop takes h6, g takes h6, queen takes check, knight h7, now knight f6. That's forced. Knight takes h7. Now here black had to play queen g6, but white's going to come out 1 or 2 pawns ahead. He played queen takes h7, and now queen f6 check, and now you can see the main idea. This was one of the main ideas, and also reveals why rook d8 was inaccurate earlier. So basically now white's winning here. Queen g7, queen takes d8 check, king h7, queen h4 check, king g8, and now rook e4. Now the threat is just to pin the rook on g4. Black plays bishop takes f2, queen takes f2, king f8 check, king e8, queen takes c7, queen c5, and now rook g4. And here black resign. Anyway, that's pretty much it for my video. I'm going to have a web page on this game, and I'll post the link for the web page. It'll be one of my pages on my website, and I'll post a link for the web page for this game in the little box just below the YouTube video where it says show more. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you have a great day. If you would like to support my web page building efforts and also my videos, if you enjoy them that much, then please do so. Please visit www.paypal.com and make a contribution under my email, and my email is LifeMasterAJ@yahoo.com. Thanks for watching this video and have a great day.